Hello and welcome. We're going to dive into the heart of a really powerful book by Peter Scazzero, The Emotionally Healthy Leader. It tackles this deep tension that so many of us in ministry or leadership feel, this gap between a successful, busy outer life and a soul that, if we're honest, is running on empty.
So let's just start with a really honest question for you, right here, right now. Is the way you're leading actually sustainable? Are you leading from a place of real fullness, or are you just running on fumes? Answering that honestly is really the first step in everything we're about to explore.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. The author, Peter Scazzero, he puts his own story right out there. On the outside, he was the pastor of a booming church in New York City. Things looked great. But behind the curtain, he was an absolute wreck. The whole thing came to a head when his wife told him she was done, that she was leaving the church. It forced him to face a devastating truth. His leadership wasn't flowing from a healthy soul at all.
Now, what Scazzero discovered in his own crisis was actually a pattern, one that's way more common than we think. He points to 4 key warning signs of what he calls emotionally unhealthy leadership. As I mentioned them, just see if any of these resonate with you.
Okay, first, there's a low awareness of our own emotions and, maybe even more importantly, our own limits. Second, we start prioritizing our ministry work over our marriage or our life as a single person. And this next one, this one is huge. We end up doing more for God than our actual relationship with God can sustain. And finally, just a total lack of true Sabbath rest. We never really truly stop.
So why is this so incredibly important? To help us get our heads around it, Scazzero gives us this amazing visual, this powerful metaphor that just cuts right to the heart of the matter. He says to picture your life like an iceberg. That little 10% you can see sticking out of the water, that's your visible ministry. It's the sermons, the programs, all the stuff people see. But the 90%, the massive unseen part under the surface, that's your hidden inner life. That's your fears, your family history, your unhealed wounds. And just like a real iceberg, it's that huge part you can't see that's actually steering the whole thing.
And this brings us to the absolute core thesis of the entire book. It's this. It is not possible to be spiritually mature while remaining emotionally immature. Let that sink in. The two are completely intertwined. Our spiritual growth and our emotional health have to walk hand in hand. Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, what's the cure? Well, the good news is it's not about adding another exhausting list of things to do. Instead, it's an invitation to embrace 4 life-giving rhythms that actually build a healthy soul from the inside out. These 4 rhythms are really an invitation into a whole new way of being with God. They are facing your shadow, leading from your marriage or singleness, slowing down to simply be with Jesus, and rediscovering the absolute joy and delight of a true Sabbath. Now that first one sounds a little intense, right? Face your shadow. All this really means is looking at the parts of ourselves we try to ignore or hide. The insecurity, the fear of failure, the need for approval. The point is, if we don't intentionally bring these things into the light, they will run our leadership from the shadows, and often in really destructive ways. And that flows right into this next rhythm, leading from our closest relationships. The health of your leadership isn't just about what you do on a stage. It's rooted in the integrity of your private life. In fact, a healthy you is the absolute greatest gift you have to offer the people you lead. This next one is such a profound shift. So many of us are so busy just constantly doing things for Jesus that we've forgotten how to just be with Jesus. This rhythm is an invitation to slow down, to embrace things like silence and solitude, so we can finally learn to hear His voice above all the noise of our own frantic activity. And that leads us right into this final, beautiful rhythm, Sabbath. And this is so important. A true Sabbath is not just a day off to catch up on errands. It's a holy time. It's a gift from God to stop our work, to rest our bodies, to delight in His creation, and to remember that He is in control. It's a weekly act of trust that says, God, you are enough, and my worth isn't in what I produce. So what starts to happen when we actually practice these rhythms? Well, our inner life begins to heal. It begins to fill up. And that transformation on the inside can't help but overflow and change absolutely everything about how we lead on the outside. This is such a powerful and honestly a pretty sobering truth. Who you are is what you reproduce. You simply can't create a healthy, graceful, loving team or ministry if you aren't actively becoming a healthy, graceful, loving person yourself. Your character
is the culture you create.
And the difference is night and day. Leadership from an empty soul is rushed, it's driven by fear, it's obsessed with numbers, and it always leads to burnout. But leadership that flows from a full soul, it's discerning, it's spirit-led, it's focused on real transformation, and it's sustainable and life-giving, not just for you, but for everyone you serve.
Now, I know this can all feel like a lot to take in, so the question becomes, okay, where do I even start? And the goal here isn't perfection. It's not about fixing everything overnight. It's just about taking that next faithful step.
So here are 4 really simple, practical invitations. First, just take an honest inventory of your soul. Where are you running on empty? Second, look at your calendar and schedule one true no-work Sabbath this month. Put a fence around it. Third, think of one courageous, honest conversation you need to have, and then have it. And finally, humbly ask a friend you trust, hey, what's it really like to be on the other side of me?
We'll end with this because this isn't just about information. It's an invitation from God to be transformed. So I want to leave you with a question to carry with you. As you think about your own inner world, what part of your shadow, what fear, what wound, what insecurity most needs the gentle, healing light of Christ today?